Alright guys, girls, this is Sean Longford here, your host of the Mystic Paranormal Podcast on the Midnight Highway. Um, Actually on my Facebook, I got a little question, a little post that I did yesterday that I basically asked people if there were three things that you could ask me and I would have to be truthful on all three things, what would those three things be? Well, I woke up to one of them, for example, today we'll use. One of them was, what's the scariest slash strangest thing that's ever happened to you while ghost hunting? And another part of the question was, have you ever had anything follow you home? Has anything ever came back with you from where you were ghost hunting? And to end the question, basically, he was asking, what advice would I give to the younger generation that's deciding or just starting to go out there and ghost hunt right now? Well, I'm going to get into that video, but before I get into that video, I just wanted to let you guys and girls know that there will be new material being posted on this YouTube very soon. I've been very sick. Maybe one of these days here I'll post a video about everything health-wise that I've actually gone through, and you'll actually get some of that in this video as well. But we've been very quiet, the Mystic Paranormal Podcast on the Midnight Highway. But I do suggest you guys to read the description of this video. I'll have the website to my Facebook group page there. It's Mystic Paranormal. I strongly advise you know, try to, not try, because I'll obviously accept you, but if you request to join that group, okay? And then there's my personal Facebook page as well, which is facebook.com/SHAWN.LONKERT. So that's facebook.com/Sean.Lonkert. Um, I also would really appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel and you like our videos and you comment on our videos and you click that notification bell. I know it's a pain in the ass. You hear it from everybody every time you go to YouTube. You hear it from everybody, and it gets annoying. But you have no idea how much that'll help me. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting this. That'll help me bring you guys and girls better content. Okay, I'll be able to bring you better content. You don't understand. Those likes and those subscribes and those comments really help the channel out, man. It brings notoriety to it, and that's what we're trying to do. But let me get into the story here, okay? First of all, Robert asked me, and I'm sorry I said your name, Robert. But anyways, I said your name. They don't know your last name. But he asked me if, what was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me while ghost hunting? Well, there is a documentary that I got posted on this channel. It's called A Hauntings of Gretchen's Lock. It's the 2018 version. So I advise all of you to check that out and comment on it. Let me know what you think. Everything on there is real. Everything on there is authentic. There's nothing fake. And that's what I pride myself in with this YouTube channel, is authenticity. There's no fabrication to anything. What you see and hear is real. Okay? But he asked me, okay, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while ghost hunting? Okay, well, as I just mentioned, I made a documentary. It's about Gretchen's Lock. It's a part of Beaver Creek State Park in Ohio. Some people call it Spruceville, Ohio, because that's what the town's name was. That's the actual town's name, but the town is a ghost town now, so it's just basically a suburb of East Liverpool, Ohio, or Rogers, Ohio. It's complicated, but it's very easy to find. It's really not that hard, but it can be complicated finding Gretchen's actual lock if you walk back there and you don't know where you're going. And I do have a video on this page that shows my wife, myself, and my friend at the time, Danny, walking back to Gretchen's Lock in the daylight to give you a full trip, a full journey of how long it takes to get back there by foot. And no stoppages in the video either, straight through. So it's like 15-20 minutes long. And what it's like to get back there and what it looks like and the sounds. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm very attracted to that area. But anyways, I'm going to quit rambling here. I've always talked about throughout the years growing up around Gretchen's Lock that, you know what? Can you imagine how scary that would be if you actually walked back to Gretchen's Lock by yourself at night? What would that be like? What would you do if something happened? You know what I mean? Well, I started getting involved in all this, and I got many scary stories that I'm going to share on here as well that'll cover my paranormal experiences that I've experienced growing up throughout my life. And there's been quite a few of them, actually. But, okay, I said screw it one day. I've always told people I was filming a documentary at the time, and I said I'm going to walk back to Gretchen's Lock by myself at night. Okay? Now, keep in mind, guys and girls, I don't have a weapon. I don't have a gun. I didn't have any kind of knife. And there is wildlife out there. And, I mean, there's really not much that's going to attack you out there, but you never know. And I will say, on the other side of this same park that I'm investigating, in the 90s, there was a lady there that was killed, and her husband was killed, and by people out there. People, okay? They raped her in front of the husband, and what a gruesome thing that was. That area is like full of death and bad experiences. Actually, one thing that happened was, I'm sorry if you hear in the background some thumping. It's my dog. He's an old man. He's just turned 10 this month. He's a golden lab, and he's itching, and he's just jumping around. He's a wild man. I can't contain him right now. But anyways, right the day that I finished filming my first documentary at Gretchen's Lock, which was back in 2009, I believe it was August, or no, I'm sorry, July or June. It was July or June. I woke up the next day after filming, and I heard, on my way out, I seen a group of kids that were coming in to the lock at night, because it's a very popular location. So they were coming in, and they were asking us to wait at the lock or whatever, and we told them. And you could go up on the lock, and it could get very dangerous, because if you don't know where you're going, it's very dark. And when you go up on top of the lock, there's like, I don't know, a 15-20 foot fall drop that goes down into the water, shallow water too, so you can get pretty hurt. Well, anyways, I woke up and I heard somebody died out there that day. And the first thing that crossed my mind was, oh my freaking God, I hope it wasn't those kids. I hope it wasn't those guys that we passed up on the way out. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. It wasn't them. Actually, it was a guy, a kid. He was only 17 years old. He was doing some kind of tree work or something, and he dropped a machete, or I don't know exactly what it was, but when you're coming down into the lock from the Calcutta or East Liverpool area, there's a lookout, and you can pull over at the lookout, and it's now called Dustin Huffman Lookout or Dustin Huffman Memorial, something like that. And just down the hill a little bit, See, first of all, at that lookout, you could pretty much see damn near to Gretchen's Lock. You could see this entire area. You're way up in the sky, dude. You're like 500 feet up, okay? Maybe more. And just a little bit down the hill, there's a cross. And that cross is a memorial. It serves as a memorial for Dustin Huffman, who actually fell off that hillside and died when he hit the bottom. And that was the day after we filmed. That was the day after we wrapped up filming. It was pretty wild to hear something like that. I won't go into many details. I will tell you though that when you park your car inside Spruceville or Gretchen's Lock Park, to go to the path to walk to Gretchen's Lock, directly across the creek, Beaver Creek, there was a set of, there's a large rocks, and that's where he hit. And all I'll say is you could tell something that was living fell a long distance and hit there. It wasn't cleaned up all the way, if you know what I'm saying. It was a pretty gruesome sight, and I'm not going to go into it out of respect for the family and everything like that. 2009, it's 10 years ago, man. Wow. It's 10 years ago that guy fell and died. 10 years ago. And I'm not really proud to say this, but I was younger back then, and I did do some EVP work back there, and I believe I've captured either Dustin himself or something and posing like an imposter, someone that was posing as him, okay, on EVP. I'm sorry, I keep getting messages too that are popping up from my Facebook. I'm very busy there right now. I'm hosting a podcast. My first podcast I want to get out there real quick is on October 31st at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's a 1-hour show on Halloween night. I'm going to be going live right here on YouTube. I'm going to be going live on my Facebook pages as well. So basically, I'm going to share the live on those Facebook pages as well. But ultimately, eventually, I will only be live on this channel. So you'll want to subscribe to this channel to get my videos. But anyways, alright guys, I swear I'm getting into it now. Okay, what's the scariest thing that ever happened? Well, like I was telling you earlier, I was talking about going back to Gretchen's Lock all by myself. And I decided to do that one night. One night, I decided to do that. And I didn't, keep in mind, I didn't have a weapon or anything like that, as I mentioned earlier. But I do have two dogs. One dog has massive anxiety, which is the one right behind me. He's a golden lab. And then I have a German Shepherd / lab, which is a very docile dog, but very more independent. I rescued him from the pound and all that. So very good dog. I never have my dogs on leashes because they follow me wherever. They don't run away from me or anything like that. They're good like that. But this time I did because this was an area that he had never been before, and it was going to be around 1 o'clock in the morning when we were doing this, okay? So what happened was, me and my wife and my dog Charlie, my shepherd, drove out to Gretchen's Lock. I had flashlights, we had walkie-talkies. My wife had one. She wanted to stay in the car and remain there, okay? And part of the reason why having these walkie-talkies was, if anything happened to her while she was in the car, I could do my best and hurry up and get back and, let my dog loose and hopefully he can make it back to the car, which ultimately he did find his way back, and I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But, and not only that, but if something were to happen to me, I could tell her what was going on and I'm on my way back, or if I got hurt, I needed help. Whatever, there was just communication between my wife and myself. So, I'm walking this 15 to 20 minute journey back into the woods with my dog on a leash, with, you know, a flashlight and some EVP recorders and stuff like that. A whole bunch of a whole bunch of like cameras and EVPs and the PSB or PSV or PSB. I think it's the PSB7 was the ghost box I had at the time. I don't like that version of it. I think it's too loud and annoying. And especially when you go ghost hunting and you're in a quiet place, I just don't like it. There's other ghost boxes invented by a guy. If you go to Huff Paranormal, if you look up HUFF Paranormal on YouTube, you can find his channel. He makes probably the most amazing ghost boxes I've ever come across, or I've ever actually seen. I would like to try to get him to make me one, you know, to pay to get one made or something. But anyways, we're walking back there. It's dark. Talking to my wife a little bit on the way. My dog is cool. Everything's cool. He's loving it, you know. He's a natural wolf, so he's loving the wildlife. And we're making our way back to Gretchen's Lock. Well, there comes this point where you can either go right or you can go left. If you go right, you're going to keep going way back into the woods and ultimately end up on the other side of Beaver Creek State Park. If you go left, you're going to follow the creek and you're going to end up at Gretchen's Lock. And I always tell people, stay towards the creek if you want to find Gretchen's Lock. Okay, now some people argue that the lock that I'm talking about isn't really Gretchen's Lock, and my belief that it is, through the research that I've done, I believe it's the actual lock. Robert, I think, has a different view on that, and apparently has some proof on that as well, which I would like to see and hear. But I do believe from the research, and this is 9 years ago, or 10 years, 2009, or no, 9 years is 2000, no, 10 years, it's 2019, yeah. 10 years of investigating, I believe that, that is the actual lock where she died. And I'm not going to go into the story of Gretchen on here. I got a podcast coming up live all about Gretchen's Lock, and I'll tell the whole story on there, or you can watch my documentary for free on this channel. But as you get to this path, then you could go right to left, or as you're on a path, then you could go right to left. We took a left, and everything went quiet. Okay, like, you hear the wildlife, you hear the bullfrogs and the crickets and all the different forms of life that are in that woodland, you know, that are in the woods. And it's very peaceful. Well, they stopped immediately. And a lot of you guys and girls might say, well, that's because, you know, they sensed another animal, such as my dog, or myself, and they stopped, which could be. But I will tell you guys, I have walked back there with loud crowds before, and that sound has always remained there, okay? It got to the point where you couldn't even hear the crick, like, moving. It was just weird. It was almost like you were entering a different dimension. And we may have. I don't know. But you're only a few minutes away from Gretchen's Lock at that point. So we're walking down the path, and the path can go straight right past Gretchen's Lock, and this is where a lot of people mess up, and they go straight. If you watch my video, A Journey to Gretchen's Lock, or something like that, Walking in Gretchen's Lock, it's titled something like that on this channel, just find it, you'll see it. You go left. There's a sharp left, you go there, and it takes you straight down to the creek, and right to the right is the lock, and then there was a monument that said, Welcome to Gretchen's Lock, and pretty much gave a brief history of the ghost story that was there, and all that. Well, when I made that turn, and I got to the lock, I was there, I was at the monument, that's where I can say, I was at the monument, and I was just about to start putting stuff on the monument to organize my stuff. That's what I always do when I go there. I put stuff on the monument, and I organize what I brought with me and get ready for the investigation. Well, my dog, I noticed his tail was standing straight up. He was looking down into the lock. And when you look down into the lock, guys, it's a black abyss. There's no light down there whatsoever. And it's cold as freaking heck. I'm going to try not to cuss on this channel because I want it to be family oriented. But I want to advise you guys and girls, you parents out there, that there is some very scary material posted on here. And there is swearing in that documentary, and I can't help that. It was just in the heat of the moment where that, where swearing happened. But he was staring there. And I just got this, like, really bad feeling. And I forgot to tell you, when I got to that turning point, this is crucial. When I got to that turning point, we could go right or left to Gretchen's Ark, which I did. My radio, I couldn't talk to my wife anymore. And this radio extends way farther than it did on this particular night. Batteries were new, everything was good. And it was silence. The radio was silence. Chris, can you hear me? Nothing. No sound, just darkness in the woods and my dog. So my dog is looking down into the lock, and I am too. Well, I'm looking at my dog, and I'm like, I had my flashlight, and I'm looking at my dog, and I'm looking at the lock. I'm like panning back and forth from my dog to the lock. And I'm kind of getting freaked out, you know what I mean? Number one, I will admit, and I don't give a crap what people say about me about this. It is scary to walk back there by yourself at night, even with the dog. And that's one of the reasons I took my dog. Not just for protection of wildlife and to repel certain wildlife from coming my way because I had a dog or some sicko out there that, that's not the only reason I took my dog. I took my dog because I feel safe around my animals, you know what I mean? Even when I'd be a kid at night in my house alone, if I would have my dogs and they were there with me by myself, I felt secure. It was just like another human being was with me. That's just me, though. I'm very close to dogs. Very big dog lover. And I panned back to my dog, Charlie, okay, for the last time. And I'm looking at him, and all of a sudden, guys, something pushes me. Okay, now this is behind me, and I'm facing my dog, which would have been like right down there, and then right there would have been the actual lock. So I'm looking at my dog, and something pushes me from behind and knocks my 6'2", 250-pound body onto the ground. I immediately lose everything. Alright, like my flashlight, it broke, it went out when it hit, all my instruments, everything, and my dog, most importantly, took off. I heard it whine, and it yiped, and it took off. Charlie was gone. I'm sitting there on the ground with no light. My dog just ran off in the middle of the woods, and I'm not only afraid because it's of the paranormal activity going on, but I'm afraid for my dog. He's never been here, guys. How's he gonna find his way home? What about if he gets lost out there, man? That's a big place. So I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like trying to avoid the fear and man up and find my instruments, mostly my light, and so I could try to track down my dog. And I'm yelling, Charlie, as I'm doing this. And I stood up. And something went right out of the lock. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. But I felt it. It went right out of the lock. I could tell, guys. Like, I don't know, there's like this thing in my head. I felt it. It came right out of the lock. There's no doubt about it. And it went right up to me. And it was like, I kid you not, a lot of you don't believe me. And that's fine. Like a lot of you guys go out there and you get EVPs and you send them to your friends or show them to your friends, and they think, okay, you're my best friend, but you know what? It could still be fake. You're probably still lying to me. You're probably just trying to pull fasting on me. Well, until you actually have an experience to yourself, by yourself or with somebody else, either way, as long as you have one, personally, a personal experience, then you will truly believe that this paranormal activity is real. So, I was on my feet at this time, and I was reaching around, like, trying to find, I forget exactly what I was doing. I had to go back the next day to get my tools, okay, my equipment that I left here. A lot of expensive equipment, and doggone it was still there. I think I waited till sunrise, and I stayed up all night. And I waited till sunrise, and then I drove back to the lock. I made the walk back there, and sure enough, all my stuff was still there. I went there before anybody else would hopefully have a chance to get back there and find it and take it. Well, I found it and I took it. Something yelled out to me, guys. Not yelled, but said to me in a girl's voice. Now remember, this is Gretchen's lock. She's a female. She's between 12, or I would say 9 years old and 12, according to the legend. That's what the lock is named after, is her death. She was actually buried there in that lock. That's why they call it Gretchen's lock, and I'll go into that later in another podcast that I do. This ain't even a podcast. This is just a random video, and you're going to get a lot of videos like this if you subscribe. But this lady or girl said hello, or I think that's what it was, guys. I think it was like, hello. I think that's what it was. I swear, I can't remember exactly. You know how you're in the heat of the moment and something happens and you just don't know exactly what it said? I think it said hello. Something along those lines. It was like one word. It was like one word, but it was stretched out, and it was eerie as heck. And I bolted. I took off running. And thank God I had the knowledge of Gretchen's lock area, the park. I knew where I was going. The creek was down on my right. I had to stay on that path and make sure I followed the creek. And the whole time I'm yelling out, I did have my walkie-talkie in my hand. I did manage to grab that. And I'm yelling on it, Chris, Christina. No answer. And I'm bolting as fast as I can, guys. And I suffer from major panic attacks. Like, I've been on, like, Xanax, Valium, stuff like that. I used to actually be addicted to them. I was really, growing up, I had a lot of anxiety. Because I think I suffer from PSD from growing up in a haunted house. And I'll get into that later too. Not in this video, but another. It's called The Greenhouse. And that'll be coming up on one of my podcasts. But I will tell you all about that. And I had the walkie-talkie in my hand. And I'm screaming for my dog Charlie. I'm screaming for my wife. And I could feel my heart pounding so fast. Have you ever, those of you that have actually had panic attacks, you could feel it. Like, your heart pounds so fast, you could hear it in your ears, you can feel it in your neck, you feel it in your chest, and you really feel like you're going to die of a heart attack. Okay? That's what happens during a panic attack, and you really are basically crippled in fear. That's the only way I can describe it, and that's the way I was. And it almost made me want to stop running. But that flight or fight syndrome had taken over completely, and I was in flight mode. I was getting the hell out of there. I knew that if I stayed, something bad could have happened to me. I may have had a heart attack back there. And I may have even had a heart attack running back to the car, but I was going to give it every attempt I had, every effort I had on my body to get back to the vehicle. Die of a heart attack or not, that's where I was headed. I think if I would have died of a heart attack, my soul would have kept on running to that car. I mean, I'm being serious. Anyway, I'm not going to make this really, really long because I got a couple other things to answer. But I'm past that split. Remember where I told you I go left to the park, or to the lock, and right to continue into the woods to go to the other side of the park. Well, I made it to that area, and my wife, I heard come over the walkie-talkie. She came over the radio, and she said, Sean, are you okay? Charlie's here. And oh my God, you have no idea how relieved I was to hear her say that my dog had made it back to the car. He was already there, guys. He was already there. He made it back to the car, got in the car, and was ready to go home. I felt so bad for the guy. He will no longer walk that path. I've tried to take him out there again. He will no longer walk that path. He won't touch it. He senses something very negative out there. Very negative. And long story short, I eventually made it to the car. She's in the passenger side. I jump in. I'm out of breath. My heart is pounding. I can hear it. I can feel it. I'm so glad to see my dog. She's like, what happened? I forget how I put it, but I was like, I just got to calm down. We got to get out of here, and I'm going to explain to you later. And I did. I explained to her what happened. But I started the car up, and we left, and we got out of there. And we went home, and I stayed up all night, and I eventually went back the next morning and got my my equipment, which is a lot of equipment at the time. And so that's the scariest thing that's really happened to me, I would have to say, would be that while ghost hunting. Not to say the scary thing that's ever happened in my life, but that's the scariest thing while ghost hunting. And really, I wasn't even ghost hunting. I mean, I was about to. I was about to do some EVP sessions and stuff like that, see what I could collect. But ultimately, I wasn't ghost hunting. And but technically, I would have been. So this would fall into that category. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while ghost hunting? Okay, has anything ever followed you home? Yes, it has. I truly believe so. I remember one time after ghost hunting, one night I was laying on the couch, and I woke up to my heart pounding, and there was a dark shadow standing in the middle of my living room. For some reason, I always like to lay out on the couch, even though my wife is back in the bed, and I watch TV. We had one TV, and I just stay up and would watch like documentaries and stuff like that. I just loved watching TV at night and falling asleep. So that's what I did. And I woke up to that dark shadow, and I closed my eyes, and there was this overwhelming fear that came over me. And I opened my eyes up, and it was gone. It wasn't there. And this was like right after my mom died. She died, ooh, dude, it like gives me cool chills just talking about it. Like, she died in 2017, and she knew that I ghost hunted, and she knew the instruments of ghost hunting that I had, the ghost hunting tools. And she always told me, if I ever die, don't ever ghost hunt me. That's what she said. And sadly, I did. And I never captured anything of my mom. And I kind of wish that I would have respected her and never tried to communicate with her. I lost her on January 24th, 2017. And, when you lose a parent like that, you think, well, they don't know what it's like on the other side. Maybe it's different now. Maybe her mind has changed. And maybe she would like for me to communicate with her. So I've tried that. And it didn't work. Nothing ever happened. I've only had dreams. I've never, well, there's one other time, actually, right where I'm sitting right now. I was doing a video just like this, and I looked over on my bed, and there was a woman sitting there, and I looked back real quick, and I looked over real quick, and it was gone. It wasn't my mother. I can't even remember if it was an old lady or a younger lady or what, but someone was sitting, dude, right there. And according to the maintenance man, where I live, somebody died. And I don't know if it was by OD or suicide or just died. My suspicions say overdose. That's just my suspicions. Anyway, that's one thing why I believe something followed me home. Although, and to you, Robert, personally, I truly believe I've always been followed by something. I do. So I can't say whether or not I believe it followed me home. But in that case, I kind of do. But my health would start falling apart. A lot, put it this way, the more we did ghost hunting, which mean when I say ghost hunting, I mean going out there with EVPs and photographing and doing these recorders and these ghost boxes and stuff like that with intent to capture something that we call ghosts or any kind of paranormal activity. That's what I define as ghost hunting, okay? So when you go out there and do that, at least in my case and a lot of other cases, a lot of negative crap seems to take place in your life. And quickly, I'll go through some after doing the documentary. And there was a time we actually lost our heat in the house. My wife don't like me to go into the details too much, but we had a very bad experience in our house. Our lifestyle went downhill big time. I won't go into details about that, but it was pretty bad. Basically, she's embarrassed by it. So I won't. I respect her and I won't say it on here. But my health, the car fell apart. A lot of things are happening with the car. All things seem to happen at once. A guy that I was riding with at the time, running with, hanging out with, Danny, I'm not going to say his last name, was my best friend at one point, and still is to some degree, but we don't talk for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, he was in a car accident while doing this documentary, that the 2018 documentary, the one that's free here on YouTube. And so things started happening to him. I developed chronic pancreatitis. I had to get my colon removed from ulcerative colitis. Along with that, they had to remove my rectum and my appendix. I had to wear a bag for a year. I went from 200 something pounds down to 170. After this last film in 2018, my health was attacked once again. And I developed the chronic pancreatitis was then. And basically my pancreas has failed and is about dead. And they found a cyst on it, and they were suspicious of cancer because it was growing fairly fast. And so they rushed me into surgery pretty much. I mean, I had to get all these immune shots because they had to remove my spleen, they had to remove my gallbladder, and half my pancreas where the cyst was. And thank God it came out benign when he took it out, but my pancreas is hard as a rock, and my surgeon says that, it may eventually have to be completely removed, which my lifestyle would not change much. The way my lifestyle has changed right now is I am now a type 2 diabetic because the pancreas has a lot to do with blood sugar, regulating your blood sugar. So I'm not going to go into all that, but that's some of the health conditions that have went bad with me. And just things breaking down, money, financial fallouts, running into very negative, vulgar people, being attacked by people, a lot of different things, guys. A lot of different things happened. And there was actually one point, like right after my mother had died, my friend Ben and somebody he was hanging out with at the time, Heidi, had stopped over my house out of the blue, and they said, let's get out of the house, dude. Let's go to a graveyard and do some EVPs or something like that. And I was like, I wasn't really into it that much, but whatever, let's do it. And we went there, and the EVPs we got were so, like, Class A. And when I say Class A, I mean, you hear me talking right now? That's how clear they were. Just like that. There ain't no saying, did that say what's up? Or did that say how you doing? No, it said what's up, dude, and everybody agreed on it, but it didn't say that. It cussed us out. It cussed us out in a cemetery right by East Palestine, Ohio. I don't know the exact cemetery's name. I'd have to look it up, but it's right by East Palestine, Ohio, heading into Nagley. Actually, it's in Nagley. It's really in Nagley. and it's on this long, windy road. For some reason, I'm going to call it 45. I don't know. But the road connects Negley to Calcutta, Ohio. I think it's 45. I think it's 45. Those of you local can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you know what I mean. It's like you would pass Brewster's on your right and Bosco's Pete's on your left while you're in Calcutta, and you would go down that road and you would just veer to the right and, go down that windy road. And it would take you down into Fredericktown and then on up into Negley, and that's where the cemetery is. It's somewhere off there. I forget exactly where it was. But it scared me so bad, the EVP, that the very next day I was on the phone with a preacher, a Christian preacher, and I set up a meeting with him. And when I met up with him, he could sense something about me or something, and he asked me if I was ready to be baptized. And I said yes, and he did it right then, dude. Like, there was no waiting around, there was no scheduling it, there was nobody in the church. It was get dressed in a suit, and I'm going to do it to you right now. And that's what he did. And I used to identify as Christian, and then I went through a phase of paganism where I thought paganism was the way. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm very confused spiritually because of things that I have been through. I also believe in, if you are going to follow the Bible, that you're either all in or you're not in it at all. You're either going to follow it to a T and be true to it, or you're not going to follow it. Well, I'm not going to go into details about some of the Bible, but a lot of the Bible I don't agree with, and I think it's downright evil what it says. And I refuse to practice that. So I can't call myself a Christian. If it wasn't for that kind of stuff, I actually probably would. I probably would consider myself a Christian. Honestly, I would. But there's just some things in the book that I do not agree with at all, and I don't know why the Book of Enoch was not put in the King James Version of the Bible, or any Bibles at all. You just got to get you just got to get the Book of Enoch, period, and you read it yourself. You can look up online. Very interesting book. But, I don't know what I am, guys. I don't know. I know I've had dreams of being attacked by demons, and I've always shouted, in the name of Jesus, leave, and they always did. I always won by that. When I was in a dream and I was being attacked by a demon, or something like demonic, I always said, in the name of Christ and all that, get out of here, and it always worked. But towards the end of dreaming and having those dreams, slowly, I guess my faith was kind of fading, and that wasn't working anymore in the dreams. But ultimately, it always did work, but it took longer. Like, it's hard to explain. It worked, but it took longer. It's hard to explain. But, so that covers my scariest part, scary thing that's ever happened to me. Has anything ever followed me home? And yes, I've had weird things happen in house as well. That could have been something that followed me home. And the other thing was, what is my advice to you guys and girls out there that are young, up-and-coming so-called ghost hunters? Let me just plug my phone in here so it don't die. My advice to you guys is don't do it. That's it. Plain simple. In a nutshell. Do not do it. Okay? I believe there are forces out there that are so vulgar and so evil that they are willing to do anything in their power to mess with you and screw your life up. And they have mine in many ways, guys. Many, many, many ways. And I've pumped documentaries out there, and I've made a little bit of money off of it, and all this stuff. And ultimately, this time around was different. I gave a lot of my the 2018 documentary, I gave a lot of that for free. I'm still like $200 something in the hole from that movie. I haven't even broke even on it. And then I just decided to put it up for free. And I'll show you guys and girls right now just what I'm talking about here. Remove this. This is the documentary, front and back. I'm not even going to mention the name of who did the artwork or anything. I don't think they want involved anymore at all in what I do. But that person did do the artwork and did do a soundtrack right here, okay, and all those songs. They did a soundtrack of that documentary, and I'm not going to mention her name unless they give me permission to do so anymore. I'm not going to use her videos or anything because I just don't think they want to be part of it anymore because of I don't know, there's a lot that's been going on, and especially these last few days where I don't blame him at all. And but he's done one hell of a job for me. He's helped me out in many ways. But I'm gonna respect him, and I'm not even gonna mention his name there. But that's about it for now, guys. I know you watch these shows, and a lot of you have probably seen my documentary, or you're gonna watch it for free on YouTube, and want to go out there and find out for yourself if you can have a personal experience, because until then you might not believe it, or maybe something has happened to you and you already do believe in it. But once you mingle and you meddle in that type of activity, it's forever. And I know that sounds weird, but it is. It's forever. Something forever is with you. I can't explain that. And maybe one day in a future show or video, I'll try my best to do that. But don't do it, guys. I'm telling you, just don't do it. Number one, you could get hurt out there in the dark. Number two, take it from somebody who's been through it personally, myself, okay? I'm not talking about Zach Bagans on Ghost Hunters where you get an EVP and he buffs up his chest. You know, I'm this big rock star and I'm going to go out there and beat these ghosts up or something like that and start calling them out. Hit me, why don't you? No, it ain't like that in the real field, guys. It's not. It's not like that at all. It's beep and scary as beep. For real. It is. It's that bad. It's scary as beep. It is. That's reality. Fiction is on TV. I'm telling you the truth. And I've also interviewed, on my podcast, which I'm going to be putting back up, and on his channel, I've interviewed guys like Edward Mitchell, Six Man Walk on the Moon, Stan Friedman, a ufologist, nuclear physicist, a.k.a. grandfather of Roswell, New Mexico. He was the first civilian to actually investigate that 1947 UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico. Carmen Reed, the actual mom on A Haunting in Connecticut. Now, a lot of you younger generation, you see the movie and you think that's it. The movie's based on a documentary by the Discovery Channel. How funny is this? Okay? How funny is this? There. See that right there? A Haunting in Connecticut. Right there. I just bought this last night. A Haunting in Connecticut. This one is based off the Discovery Channel documentary. That's the truth, not the freaking fiction from Hollywood, okay? None of that. None of that fiction or that fiction from Hollywood is in that documentary. That's the real deal. And Carmen Reed was the actual mother that lived through that documentary, not the actress, the actual mother, okay? I've also interviewed David Thibodeau, okay? He was a member of the Branch Davidian cult back in 1993 in Waco, Texas. David Koresh that said he was the, basically, son of God. I interviewed him. He actually jumped through a fiery building. He jumped out of a fiery building to escape when our FBI. Now, it's very suspicious what happened and very controversial, and I'm not going to go there right now, but I believe the FBI was wrong. The ATF was wrong in what they did. Tanks in a civilian situation, no. A lot of women and children died that day, okay? It's pretty scary. But I interviewed him, So his show will be popping up here on his YouTube channel as well. Guys, please subscribe. Please like this video. Please add me on Facebook. I'm really, I mean, guys, look, what you get right now is what you're going to get with my podcast. I'm not a professional. Like, I am just like you. I'm just a regular person, but I have a passion for this. I've experienced this. Okay? You can belittle me. I don't give a crap. I've had all that done to me before. I don't care. You could call me weird, loony, or I've lost it, whatever. I don't care. I've lived through it. And a lot of you might bust that I don't got no teeth and I'm on radio. I can't help it. I had ulcerative colitis, guys. My body wasn't producing enough nutrition to keep them. But I've learned to talk fairly well without having teeth. I would think mainly most of you would agree. You know? No, it ain't from smoking meth or anything like that. Yes, I did have an addiction problem, not with meth or any illegal street drug. But, you know, I've been through so many surgeries. I was addicted to opiates. I was addicted to benzodiazepines like Xanax and stuff like that. I've never done anything illegal. I've bought pills illegally. And I always make sure they're legal, or not legal. I always make sure they're legit because I look up the pill number on my phone when I get them to make sure I'm not getting ripped off. You know, what else? Maybe I'll go through my drug problem in the future on this channel. If you guys and girls would like to hear that, comment below and I'll post it there. I have been to jail. I've never committed a felony. I've never had a violent crime committed. I've never committed a violent crime. I've never hurt anybody. I've just been in the regular fist fights like you guys and girls have back in the day when I was young. I'd get my ass whipped today. Like I said, I don't have no wind. I'm older. I'm 40. I don't have organs in me. I have chronic pancreatitis. I've had so many surgeries. My body ain't what it used to be, guys, okay? And no, a lot of you guys and girls out there say, oh, you have somebody fight your battles for you. No, I don't. I can't help that people stick up for me and say that they're going to do this because they recognize what I've been through. They're just being polite. They're just being respectful because they know that I'm a fragile human being. I don't know if I'm going to live to 50, guys. I'm 40 years old. That's pretty scary. Seriously, it really is. But, my advice to all of you, finally, I know I keep repeating myself, is just don't do it. Don't ghost hunt. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Rather, what religion you are, no matter what religion you are, it's out there. This paranormal aspect of life truly does exist. Okay? And I think I said it, but I'm now type 2 diabetic. I think I said that because I had to have my colon removed. And here I am drinking I had to get the small ones. Cinnamon Coke, it's awesome. I love it. But let me know if you guys would like any other certain videos for me to do. I do define myself as a podcaster, an author. I've wrote and published 4 books. I'm working on 2 more right now. I am a paranormal investigator. I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't hunt ghosts anymore, or whatever you want to call them. I don't hunt what we define as being ghosts. Let's just put it that way. But we're 53 minutes in. I like to keep my shows to an hour. That's what all my podcast shows will be. Guys, in the description, I'm telling you, look, go to my webpage, subscribe to this YouTube page, and join my Mystic Paranormal Facebook group page. Okay, you're going to get a lot of stuff. Like I said, though, no professional. I'm on a phone here. Okay, you're getting me. You're just getting reality. You're getting the facts. You're getting the truth. Okay, I don't got to have all these major effects and stuff like that for you guys and girls to get what you want. You know, it's just like sitting around a campfire telling stories. You know, it ain't all decked out. You're just telling stories. It's a cool setting. So in my videos, maybe from now on, kick back in your blankets, maybe turn the lights down low or off. Maybe have your animal with you, or you and your girlfriend, or you and your boyfriend snuggle up together and watch my videos on my channel, because I got a lot coming, guys. I got a lot planned so long as I'm alive for this channel. Okay? That's all I'm going to say for now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you ahead of time for liking, subscribing, and clicking that notification bell so you know when new material has been posted and uploaded to this YouTube channel. Thank you ahead of time for joining my Mystic Porn... Whoa. Wrong word. Mystic Paranormal podcast Facebook group page. It's a mouthful. And thank you for adding me on my regular Facebook channel as well. Facebook page, which there you'll find various topics. I'll be talking about video games, dude, I'm a gamer, you know, stuff like that. Different stuff. But all my paranormal stuff is going to be on here. Eventually all on here, and well, video-wise, and on the Mystic Paranormal Facebook group page. So request to join that, guys. I got to end it here. I got a long uploading. I got people paging me right now asking for my help because they're being attacked by demons. And guys, I can't help you. I can only direct you to the people that possibly can help you. I'm not going to take on the devil. I'm not powerful like that. Okay? That's not me. I don't do that. I don't even ghost hunt anymore. At max, if you said, Sean, can you come help me out? The most I could do, which you already know your house is haunted, the most I could do is say, maybe you don't do it you don't find stuff on an every time basis. As a lot of you paranormal investigators know. The most I could do is say, your house is haunted. Here's some EVPs. Here's some photographs. Here's where I would direct you to go for help. That's it. That's all I can do. I can't get anything out of your house. I can't tell it to leave. It's not going to listen to me. Okay? That's it. All right, guys. I'm signing off. Thank you. Peace.